Okay, so how not to do things with Dan says don't buy new shit. These oil pumps are identical. I looked them over, checked them. Everything's identical. That's the old oil pump, which was working fine. However, I wanted to do this up right, make sure it was going to last, buy new parts. And no, I didn't buy it from a Chinese place on eBay. I bought it from a reputable parts dealer, actually. However, there are two gaskets. I'm not sure what the other one's for, blah, blah, blah. But anyways, I ordered for a 4G54 1983 Dodge Challenger 2.6 Mitsubishi. If you look on the back of this one, you will see how the gasket that was on there went up around the edge here, came down around here, and so on and so forth. If you look at this one, now the gasket's still on the motor, so we'll be able to have a better look. But so you can't really see on this one, but you'll see they're identical, really, except for the shaft sticking out, which is an add-on. You switch that from one to the other. But you'll see the part up here, the part up here, the two holes here, the hole here. Whoop, careful. Hole here and a hole there. You know, everything's identical. Now, if you come over here, though, this is where things get interesting. Because the old gasket stayed on the block nice. So, if you come down here and look. Now, here. Suddenly we notice something. We notice this line. I'm going to try to get it here. We notice this line right here. This is where the pump sets. And you see it came down around. Seemed to be sitting fine on the gasket everywhere else. But right here, the gasket veers off and does not come out all the way to here, as it should. No, as a matter of fact, if the balance shaft was still in there, this gasket wouldn't fit. Because, if you'll see, oh look, a crack. Right there. A crack. And a hole right there, actually, if you look closely. You can see a hole right there. What happens is then oil leaks right here, right back into the block, making the pump very, very inefficient. Also explaining why it would lose its prime. Because as soon as you shut it off, the oil would drain back through. It wasn't a closed system. So, for want of a gasket, pressure was lost. For want of pressure, bearings were lost. For want of the bearings, thousands of dollars have been lost. This is unfortunate. But we have now found the problem. Okay, so we'll show a little bit more here now. We got it on the bench. If you want to come over here, babe. So you also see right here, this one, the bolt that holds the oil pump together, has no lock washer and protrudes through, which I believe is what made this hole in the gasket. Because that's not a necessary hole in the gasket. Get the gasket on here the right way around. That's not a necessary hole in the gasket. That's made by that. That little bit does come in contact with the block, which would hold it out just a little bit. So not only would it leak by with that gasket, but you're holding the whole pump out of the way, so where it's sucking in and pumping out, you're leaking. You're leaking oil. Oh, if you'll notice this one. Now this one, I don't believe I have this one tightened down all the way, but you have the lock washer. You can see how much it is loose. There's no way it's going to turn in 1/8 of an inch and stick out past. And you could see the other gasket that was on here covered that. When you put this gasket on, not covered. And even if this hadn't been touching, as I showed you when I put it on showed you previously when I put this on the block, this does not come out past the hole where the balance shaft used to be, so you leak oil. This is just a bad gasket or the wrong gasket. I ordered the proper kits for doing, actually I have two, one right up here as well, proper kit for doing the balance shaft delete, come with the rings and whatnot. I ordered a brand new oil pump, Nothing in any of the instructions say anything about a different gasket, and there's no need for a different gasket. This gasket would have been fine had this gasket been made. Oh, let's see. Let's take a good gander here now. Had this gasket been 1/4 of an inch maximum wider, and had this bolt had the lock washer on it, been the right length. It's shoddy workmanship and piss poor performance. Yes, I did not check and gasket match. My fault. I'll take that. I have to take that because I'm the one that has the blown up motor that may be way too expensive to fix. I mean, we're looking at getting a crank ground. We're looking at getting the connecting rods ground, the main journals ground, and whether or not the camshaft will be reusable, whatnot. There are caps you can get for that kind of stuff, but the cost of all that, yeah, I may just be up shit creek without even a canoe. Definitely not a outboard, that's for sure. So all this because of that. So thank you to that parts company, which shall remain nameless. And I will clean up and have some iced tea. I know I'm belaboring the point here, but I decided to put this back together just so you could see, if we're lucky here, the gap. If you push this in, see how it's tight over on this side. Here, as you can see, it's tight there. The gap gets slowly wider over here, and then got one bolt holding it there, so I'll loosen that up. You push it right in, and it looks, you could see just that line. Now when you put a gasket there, it sort of fills it up. When you put the gasket in, that's actually, depending on your angle, you look at it, see how thick the gap is, and especially when you get right around the sides, you put a gasket in there, it sort of fills it up. It appears flush, but it's not. All because of one lost lock washer. I'm going to set the camera somewhere here where hopefully we can just keep recording for a second. I'll keep talking, which probably more likely to make you turn the video off, but we'll pull this back out here. Pull this bolt out off. And see, this is the whole thing with this oil pump, is that one bolt, you can see here, I'm trying to get oil all over my phone. There's one bolt right, where are you? Try to get the camera in the right spot. One bolt right there that goes through and protrudes out the other side. I gotta let me get down so I can get a better picture here because I'm dropping things. Okay, protrudes out the other side right here. Just that little bit. If it had a lock washer on it, wouldn't do that. So whatever shop floor, whatever assembly factory or whatever decided to drop that washer when they were putting the thing together, they sent out one oil pump minus a washer. Cost me thousands of dollars, over a year's worth of work, and quite probably the end of my dream. I know a lot of you will say it's not much of a dream. I'll put these bolts back in here just for fun. It's not much of a dream and more of a nightmare. Yeah, you're probably right. But, you know, see, those are the same length or not. It was my dream. And now it possibly is over. Oh, well, we'll just do a little more video here so you can see. Maybe in the morning sun, whatever. The sparkling metal pieces. And the phone over here so it's, I can get the different aspects. But yeah, I'm sure you can if I can get it at the sun, you can see the metal shavings in there quite easily. Alright, so we've loosened the head bolts. Taking the intake manifold off. I'm going to pull the head here now, and we'll push the pistons up through. See, well, I think if we do this, we're going to be boring it out anyways, so we'll be new pistons and everything anyways, but we'll see. Well, I got the head off. I'll look at something here just before I push these pistons out. I don't know how well you could see. Turn the flash on here if I can. Yeah. That looks to me like that ring's almost ready to come off that piston. Yeah. Which makes me think that there's quite a bit of wearing going on or something. They don't look like they did when I put them in, that's for sure. I might not even be able to bore this block out. Okay, in case anybody thinks that I've lost my redneckery, check this out. We got a step stool on 4 tires, ratchet strap down, post bungee corded to the top of it, ran across to a ladder, post fastened on there, 2 ratchet straps coming down, hooked onto what's left, which is basically the block, motor mounts, flywheel, and crank. So I want to lift it up here a bit, then I'll pull the crank out right where it sits, and it'll be even easier to lift out of here. And if we look in here, we've got good cross hatching. Still, everything's still good that way, so that's fine, but I still plan on boring them out a millimeter over. We're going to see here. If we're going to do it this time and it takes forever to do it, we're going to do it right. We're going to have it oversized. We're going to have the compression where we want it. We might even do a modification to the heads, depending on what kind of a wizard I can find with an aluminum TIG welder. And we're going to, I think we're going to put the blower on it for sure. I don't know what you guys think, but I think an M90 sticking up through the hood here, blower drive, about halfway through the hood, and a couple of Carter Weber 38s, dual Weber 38s sitting on top, look fantastic. I'm not one for much for driving around town. As long as she's run on the highway, then I'm fine. And she performs at the strip, I'll be even finer. But I think this is what we're going to go with. I mean, this is my Hemi. This is my Hemi. This is my numbers matching, all that kind of stuff. The block, I'm 99% sure we're going to be able to salvage the head. The head I'm a little worried about, but and the cam, but I'm not defeated. Well, probably defeated before I start, but I was with this. But I have ideas. We'll see what happens. We're gonna go back to my redneck ways a little bit. I'm still gonna, make sure things are the way they're supposed to be, or the way I think they're supposed to be. But we tried doing it all by the book, and new parts and all that kind of stuff. And that's what sunk us. So I'm not going completely off the rails on a crazy train, but I think we're switching flags. That's for sure. So I'll get back with you here once we get the crank pulled and see where we sit. Okay, redneckery continues. Now I have blocking. I moved it up another rung, so it's only half on the step. But we have the crank out, flywheel off, clutch off, all that kind of stuff, making it extremely lighter. So it shouldn't be that hard to get it up over the grill there, out onto the ground into the garage, where we'll probably shut down for today after I get all the stuff on the ground out from underneath it. But yeah, the crank doesn't look real good.
See, you can see that race is real bad. Other races here have marks. One of the caps did not have much bearing left. I'm not sure what we will have to do here. We may end up with a new crank and connecting rods, but hopefully we don't have to get the engine line bored and bigger bearings. One never knows. We might do it anyways, just because it's going to take years to put this back together due to finances. And why rush it? As long as it's back together in time to drive me to my grave, should be fine. All right. Now, what we're going to do here, he says, is we're going to slowly push the car back. Guess we'll have to remove the hood prop, I know. And the engine should then be left hanging over the ground, where I might almost be able to carry it because it's just the block. So, it's going to be tricky, but I think we can do it. We'll get back to you, or you'll see it on the news, one of the two. All right, this is not a rerun. This is the engine block back on the engine stand. Good news, the journals appear to all be okay on the block. So I think our block is all right. And in the sobering light of day and things, oil drained off things a bit and whatnot, the only journal we really seem to have a problem with is this one here, which has bearing material on it and so on and so forth and whatnot. Not sure. Might have to get that one turned down and put a undersized bearing in it. Not sure. We'll have to check it with the calipers later. But anything's possible. The camshaft, upon closer inspection, not as bad as we thought. The only journal is this one up front, and it's not that bad, really. I mean, there's a line on this one, but that's polishable, actually. The same with the head. You know, the head is, I've seen much worse. You know, that probably means that, I know everybody's thinking, of course you've seen much worse. Just look at the hack work you do. Probably most of the stuff you work on is worse, and you're right. But no, I think with the exception of the crank, which is still dicey, and the one quite obvious connecting rod here that has gone the way of the dodo. I mean, that's not even round anymore. That connecting rod is not Zabel. But that may be all we need is one connecting rod. Connecting rod and a crank may be all we need. So the tide is turning, as you can tell by the rain out there. I'd say the tide's coming in. But yes, those of you who've been with us since the beginning, I'm sure this looks somewhat familiar, but we're just sort of changing gears here today. The test pilot is working on her bike here and getting it ready for the season. So anyways, yeah, maybe a upcoming trip where we work on LS's and Duramax's and 1975 Ford, of all things. Maybe coming up here in the next week or two. So, yeah, catch you on the next one.